Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. And today I'm joined by Dan Carrigan, AVP of Strategy at Nasdaq, and Mark Sebastian, Chief Operating Officer at Option Pit. Nasdaq partnered with the CME Group to launch a new futures contract on the Nasdaq-100 Volatility Index, ticker symbol VOLQ. The new futures contracts, following all regulatory approvals, will launch on October 5th, 2020. The futures contract will be cash settled based on the VOLQ index. VOLQ futures will add character to the phenomenon we just experienced last week called cod witching. That is the third Friday of the calendar quarter month when 4 derivative contracts expire: stock index futures, single stock futures, stock index options, and single stock options. No, this doesn't mean an additional derivative for expiration on a quad rich Friday. Today, we examine whether traders will have more information available on their screens when researching and trading the Nasdaq-100 during Quad Witch Week. For this answer, I first turn to Dan Carrigan of Nasdaq.
Thanks, Jill. And indeed, the story of expectations for market movements now during Quad Witch Week, it's going to receive another chapter this fall, and that chapter is called VOLQ Futures. But the good news is that traders do not have to wait to start researching whether the VOLQ index opens another storyline in their actual trading pursuit. For example, just this past week, we were able to observe constant movement in the Nasdaq-100 index, which is ticker symbol NDX. We were able to look and view NDX compliant volatility leading up to Friday morning's expiration for the 4 quad witch derivative products. Now, if you look back, Tuesday's NDX high was around 11,495, and it sold off into the Friday morning quad witch open, about a level of approximately 3%. But at that same point, when NDX was at that high on Tuesday, VOLQ bottomed out at around 30, and then it rallied 12% into Friday's quad witch open. So VOLQ is telling us something. When it moves on a big percentage basis, as in 4x into quad witch, it's saying movement ahead.
So, Mark, we recently talked about this on Friday, September 18th, which of course was a quad witch expiration, about how VOLQ moved higher with the Nasdaq 100. What role does VOLQ play now post quad witch Friday?
Well, I think it's a really good indicator for traders to see, what kind of fear is being priced in the triple Q. Notice we're recording this on a Monday, Nasdaq having another tough day. VOLQ not moving that much. Market telling us, hey, maybe we're starting to find an area of support, an area where there could be some investment. Another thing that I think is really interesting about quad witching and adding this VOLQ product to it is with the amount of trading that is now taking place in the final 48 hours of a contract's life, adding this new layer of information and trading, I think is truly going to make the triple Q and the Nasdaq 100 and the big 5 stocks in the Nasdaq 100, that trading even more rich, more interesting, and potentially more profitable for both retail and institutional traders.
Dan, is there a rule of thumb for traders to associate Nasdaq 100 movement with VOLQ?
There is, and this is one of the nice parts of investors when they begin their education process with volatility indexes. We've looked at the VOLQ index on our chart back to 2014, and you'll find that as a rule of thumb, VOLQ is negatively correlated of about 0.8. It just simply means that most of the time when the market's going up, VOLQ is going to go lower. You can see during 2015, spike in VOLQ, a little bit of a sell-off, and into late 2018, the same kind of concept. But wow, did VOLQ ever light up in the Q1 of this year, letting participants know something was coming, and that something that was coming was indeed a market sell-off into late March. But of course, not everything goes one way, and one of the benefits of a volatility index is it gives you an idea of the trading range. So at its highest point in late March, it was signaling big move ahead. The surprise was that move was to the upside. But at that same point, hey, market rallied, VOLQ went down, stayed true to that form of negative 0.8% correlation. But that kind of seems like a little bit esoteric for traders. Here's the simple takeaway today. VOLQ is specific to at-the-money options. So if it's up 5 points today, you know with 100% certainty those 5 points are attributable to at-the-money. That's helpful for traders when they're trying to get an assessment where's the market going to go next?
So Mark, how will CME VOLQ futures help traders during quad witch?
Oh, I think that the use of those relative to what's happening in the triple Qs, the NDX options trading, and options on the Nasdaq-100 future, this is going to play hand in hand with that. If you look at the other volatility contracts, when those volatility contracts heat up, that's typically because the other major indexes are heating up at the same time. So I think this is going to be another arrow in the quiver of NASDAQ traders. It's also going to really provide them a lot of information about what the next month might look like as options are expiring, as positions get rolled out into either the next month, the next serial month, or the next quarter.
So Dan, remind everyone, when do futures launch?
Well, pending all regulatory approvals, the cash settled VOLQ futures will launch on CME on Monday, October 5th. Now, it's important for traders to realize these contracts will have a $1,000 multiplier and a 5-cent or a $50 tick. So if you already have a futures account and you have access to CME products, you have access, you will, to VOLQ futures. Only difference, the CME ticker symbol will be VLQ. And of course, as you're looking at different items in terms of Mark's analysis of how to use VOLQ going forward, we have a ton of research and educational information. Just go to nasdaq.com/VOLQ to keep up the educational pursuit.
Well, with all eyes on the upcoming November elections, we will watch volatility closely, and I bet we may even be watching December quad witch even more closely. Dan, Mark, thanks so much for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.